Hey everyone, Howie Fisher with Fisher's Flies. Thanks for checking in. Today I am tying up a variation of the Purple Rain Prince. Essentially, this is a black Duracell jig or Duracell style nymph. I'm using a Jig Force hook from Fulling Mill in size 14, paired with a slotted tungsten bead that is 3.2 millimeter in black, also from Fulling Mill. And to get started with the thread today, I am using 70 denier thread in black. This is just normal UTC. I'm going to go ahead and get started and take a bunch of thread wraps to jam that bead in place, try and prevent it from sliding around. I'm going to snip off the excess and I'm going to grab my first material, which is black CDL or Coq de Leon. And I'm going to go ahead and grab about 8 to 12 fibers roughly for this size of fly. And I am going to tie this onto the bare shank, and I want this to be about the length of the fly. I like to take a couple wraps over top and then adjust as needed. Then I'm going to take a couple firm but looser wraps to just before the bend of the hook. Bring my thread back to behind the bead and snip off that excess. I'm then going to grab my wire. Here I am using small or Brassie wire in black. And I'm going to go ahead and secure this to the near side of the hook and bring this all the way back to where I ended my thread with the tail. And then I'm going to reach for my dubbing, which here is Tactical Microflash dubbing in UV purple from Fulling Mill. And I've gone ahead and mixed it with a little bit of black UV dubbing as well, just to tone down the purple. I tied up a mixture of these. This specific one I did, like I said, just a mixture of black and purple to tone down the purple. I did some in straight purple that looks a little bit more like a Duracell jig, and then I did some that were even darker black. So nice thing about this pattern is you can mix it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull off my excess dubbing. I added a little too much. And then I'm going to take my wire and counter wrap it. So I'm going to wrap it underneath the hook and back towards me. Once I secure my wire behind the bead, I'll go ahead and helicopter my wire off. And then I'm going to grab my next material, which is CDC feathers in black from Fulling Mill. And you should be able to get 2, sometimes 3 flies out of one feather, depending on the size and the sparseness of the feather. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and take my Stonfo chip clip and put one side of the feather in the chip clip. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off and set it aside. Tip for the day: if you can't find your bodkin or just don't know where it is, you can use other tools. Here I'm using my whip finisher. The end of my whip finisher is actually pretty pointy, so I'm just going to go ahead and flatten my thread out by spinning it counterclockwise and split it with the tip, and then insert my CDC feather. I'm then going to go ahead and spin my thread back clockwise to tighten up that thread. I'll link a video for split thread dubbing loops above that I've done in the past. So then I'm just going to brush these fibers back with every wrap I take until I am done with that CDC. Lastly, I'm going to grab a little bit more of this purple dubbing. Here I'm doing just straight purple to act as a little bit of a hot spot. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a couple wraps around the head. Again, this is acting as a hot spot, but it's also going to push back those CDC fibers to make sure that they are not sticking out too straight. Then I'm going to whip finish, snip my thread, and add a little dollop of Solarez bone dry here. Make sure nothing falls apart. And this is it. It's a pretty simple tie. Hope you enjoy. Tie them up, fish them. Let me know what you think. Again, this is the Purple Rain Nymph or Prince.